Welcome to the Cashing In on Creativity podcast with artist, author, and creative business consultant, Bruce Outridge. Let's get started making money with your unique talent. On with the show.
Hello, welcome to the Cashing In on Creativity podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge. This is episode number 233, and this is our book club episode. As you probably know, if you've been following us for 2021, we started a new book club back in January for a number of reasons. And I'm going to recap what our book was for last month, introduce a book or series for this month, and hopefully get you reading along with us and growing your business. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey folks, I got a book that I think you're going to love. It's called You're Not Done Yet. This is a book that I released in March 2020 and is a book that helps you figure out where you're going in life and figuring out some of the talents you got. Are you wondering what your purpose is for life? Are you wondering how to live your life to the fullest? Are you thinking that education is holding you back? Or maybe you just need to help focus your life with some of the values you've got. Why not merge your talent and your skills and make yourself an awesome life? I talk all about that in You're Not Done Yet. This is a book that is a real easy read. You can find it on Amazon, or you can go to you'renotdoneyet.ca. Enjoy the book, and I hope that it helps you to focus your life. All right, let's start with the book that I decided to read for January. So, as you probably know, if you're listening to the very first episode, last year I didn't read very many books. When you're into podcasting and doing a number of other things, you often stop. I'm still getting information, but you stop reading, or at least stop reading books. And I enjoyed reading a book a month. I found it very helpful in growth and for article writing. And I haven't been writing as many articles because a lot of my media work has gone on to online editing, or as far as video and audio. So I haven't been writing as many articles as I usually do, although I still do write every month. But it's funny that if you're reading, your writing gets better. And I'm kind of not getting as many ideas in a way from the reading. It's not, so because I only read, I think, about 3 books last year. So I made a goal for myself for 2021 that I was going to read at least 1 book a month. And you know what? If you're a creative or an artist, anything like that, then you understand that personal growth is directly tied to your business. The more you grow, the more your business will grow, whether you want it to or not. It just will. Whether you will have the knowledge, you just need to take that knowledge and put it into action. And at that point, you're going to have a successful business, and it will keep growing. So it's about taking these steps that you learn and putting them into action. So one of the things I made for a goal for myself was to read 1 book a month. And I thought it'd be fun to have you guys do it along with me. Now, so the way this book club works, you don't have to read the same book. I'm introducing a book, but you don't have to read the exact same book. But basically, you want to read a book on the same topic, same theme. And if you don't want to, hey, you don't have to even acknowledge that you're reading a book, and you can just read whatever book you want. But the goal is to try and finish a book a month and have time to do that. And I'm not a fast reader. I'm not one of these people who just can read a book in 2 days and call it a day. I'm the kind of person that reads like 10 pages a day and 1 chapter a week and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very slow and methodical, but I like to highlight. I like to read every word, so I'm kind of different than the way that a lot of other people do it. So one of the books that I started off with last month, and I've got a number of books that I want to read. Some of them are books I've heard of. Some of them are books that are of interest. Some are books on business. Some are books that have been gifts to me and I haven't had a chance to read them yet. Some I've started and not finished. So I want to kind of get to that. And so hopefully it's going to be fun for you as much as for me. I'm going to report back. The first episode of every month is going to be the book club. There's no sign up. You don't have to sign up for a club or anything, but if you just want to read along, if you want to improve your own reading, then hopefully this is going to help. So the one I chose for January is a book that, and I've got some, I got stuff I need to work on, so one of them is, I've got some stuff like, self-confidence, self-improvement, always big, no matter how much successful you get, that's something that always plays on my mind. Collaborating, competition from other artists and stuff is all things that I've always worked on. And artists tend to be very collaborative, but it also can be very competing depending on where you are in the spectrum of arts. So I thought last month, I wanted to start off, one of the ones that really struck a chord with me since 2020 was how many people started podcasts. And it's because we were all in the lockdown, right? People struggling to get online. They started podcasts. I've always been fairly a leader in that field, in the trucking industry anyway, where I was, and also probably in the creatives. So when a lot of people are starting podcasts, you start looking at, oh my gosh, it's good and it's bad. It's good that more people are getting into podcasts. That's good for all of us. It's bad that, oh man, there's a lot of people starting podcasts similar to what I do. And is that going to take away advertising opportunities? Is it going to water down the effect? All of those kind of things. And I always struggle with that. So something I need to work on is, dealing with competition and all that kind of stuff. Although I work with a lot of people, there's a lot of ways to work on that. So I decided to look for a book that would work about that. When I searched a book, I had a couple recommendations from friends. When I looked at the books, it didn't really talk about what I was hoping to talk about. Maybe they did, and I just have to read them. But one that kept coming up was The Art of War. Now, this Art of War, I've heard about it many times. It's known as one of the best business books. It was written years and years ago, like eons ago, thousands of years ago, about war, about how to beat your enemy and how to handle war and handle people that are you're leading, those kind of things. But it's a very old book. So I decided that I already have it as a paperback. I have a lot of books, and there's a lot of them I've read 2 and 3 times. Some of them I haven't read at all. So I already had this one here. I just never got into it. So it's a paperback. This one here in particular is by James Clavell, and it's called The Art of War. Sun Tzu, if I'm pronouncing that right, TZU is his last name. Sun Tzu is the one. He's critically acclaimed for writing this book. And even when I put this up on our podcast, I had a lot of comments on LinkedIn and stuff, and people saying that's a great book. And there's many different versions of this same book with the same title. I've seen it from a little thumbnail one, which is really small, to the paperback I have, and I'm sure there's a hardcover and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to recap this book. I finished the book. Okay, so I finished one goal. At least I finished the book. And then I was looking at it. I found it. People said it's an amazing read. You're going to love it. I actually found it fairly hard to. I can see the lessons in it. Okay, so the lessons in it it's talking about war and all of those kind of things, and I get it. But you basically had to translate it into today's world for it to make sense. So just to give you a couple of examples of this, because I did a lot of highlighting. One of them on waging war. Okay, and you got to remember this was written in 2,500 years ago. So whatever that time was. So one of the ones that I highlighted here, a lesson I highlighted, was the value of time. That is so this is what it says: the value of time, that is being a little ahead of your opponent, has counted for more than either numerical superiority or the nicest calculations with regard to commissariat. So now I have to think, okay, what does that mean? For me, to translate it into my business, into today's world, the value of time. Now that I get. I'm very, very structured and organized and scheduled, and I understand time. And even in the mornings, I use my time for me. That's my creative time. I don't answer emails before basically 10 a.m. I don't worry about social media in the mornings other than to post. That is, in the morning is my writing time or goal setting or all those important things, what I do in the morning. Exercise. It's all about me in the morning from basically 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. The first 4 hours are about me and what I need to get done. So I found that to be, so the value of time I get, that is being a little ahead of your opponent. That's right. So they say if you wake up an hour earlier, then you can learn more. You've got a head start on the day from other people. And I like to wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning. So this is now has counted for more numerical superiority or the nicest calculations with regard to commissariat. Now I take that as you can get more done ahead of everybody else. And it's true in my game. As somebody who produces content and produces, regular content for people and for myself, having that hour, having certain things out of the way, feeling better, all have helped me produce good content. So that's just one of the things on waging war. Now, that was about waging war, not my life, but that's what this was. Now, another section here that was talking about skillful leaders. And it says, the skillful leader subdues the enemy's troops without any fighting. He captures their cities without laying siege to them. He overthrows their kingdom without lengthy operations in the field. With his forces intact, he disputes the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph is complete. This is the method of attacking by stratagem, of using sheathed sword. Now, I don't have any sheathed swords here with me, and I'm not attacking anybody, I don't think. But, so what did I get out of that? The skillful leader subdues the enemy troops without any fighting. So you're not trying to create havoc online with somebody. You're looking at what they're doing and you're trying to do it better. And that in itself is how you're capturing their city. You don't take a long time you're not going to draw something out in lawsuits and all of that to try and cease their operations. You're going to look at what they're doing, see how you can do something better, and get on with it. And with his forces intact, he disputes the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph is complete. So without, he uses what he has right now. He uses who he's got, and he uses strategy to deal with them. Another one is same basic chapter here. He says, he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. So if you've been married like I am, there's times when you want to fight and times when you should just not fight. All right, so it's the same idea. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. So it is easy to get up in everybody's face, but now may not be the time, or this may not be the time, or it may not be the industry, or it may not be whatever it is, right? He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all the ranks. So you want your whole team to be the same as you. They've got to be as enthusiastic as you. They've got to be working on the same goal as you. And they've got to be focused like you. And he will win who prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. Okay, so just because you're ready to take over your competition today doesn't mean you should. Maybe you should wait for a more opportune time. And then, of course, there's another set here where it says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. So you need to know what your strengths are. And for me, this was a big thing. It's amazing how much I've learned. This is why I like the book club, because I'm having to explain it a bit back to you. And by doing that, I'm actually having to learn and relate it even better to our area. So first of all, you got to know your enemy. So who's your competition? Who's doing similar work to you? Who's priced accordingly to you? Who's in the same industry and same work that you are? That's one thing. That's knowing your enemy. You have to know yourself. What are your strengths? What makes you good? This is something like asking your customers, why do they buy from you? What do you do differently? What are you doing? And it could be little things. It doesn't have to be something major. It could be little things like good customer service, good delivery options, easy payment, easy to work with. Those kind of things are a big deal. And then if you know yourself but not the enemy, so you're really good at what you do, but you've got blinders on and you don't. And this is something a lot of people say too, is don't worry about the enemy. Well, this could be a real problem if you're because your enemy could be coming up behind you and you not realizing it. So it's important to know you and your enemy. And of course, you need to know both. If you're not paying attention to anything, you don't know whether you're good, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how you're doing it, you don't know what your competition's doing it, then you're probably going to get just swallowed up in the whole battle or the whole industry. Under tactics here, we were talking about to secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. So, hence the saying, once we know how to conquer without being able to do it. So this was under tactics. And again, knowing when the opportunity is to take on your competition, if you choose to. And it may be silent. It may not be, they may not even know. I know for myself, last year in 2020, everybody starting podcasts. One way that I was staying above that was by upgrading equipment, upgrading the way I do things, upgrading my processes, getting more connection with our audience. Those kind of things were ways that I was basically moving ahead with all of those, with my competition coming in. So another one that I came up here where I was interested in. This one here is talking about soldier spirit. So now a soldier's spirit is keenest in the morning. By noonday it has begun to flag, and in the evening his mind is bent only on returning to camp. A clever general therefore avoids an army when its spirit is keen, but attacks when it is sluggish and inclined to return. This is the art of studying moods, discipline and calm. He awaits the appearance of disorder and hubbub among the enemy. This is the art of retaining self-possession. So the way they're saying that when you attack, don't attack when your competition's the strongest. You want to attack when they're the weakest and tired and that kind of thing. I took this a little differently for me as to more knowing yourself and knowing my time management. A soldier's spirit is keenest in the morning. That's right. I'm most creative in the morning. So get your most important work. And your most important work may not be the duties you have for the day. Goal setting to me and making sure I'm focused on where our business is going is more important than me editing a video. Even editing the video may be my task for the day and what I need to get done for a client. But making sure that I'm focused on our business and what's going on is what's more important. So to me, I'm doing that in the morning. By noonday, things are starting to go down, right? You've had a busy morning, you're starting to go down. So putting your most important work in the morning as opposed to later on in the day is a way of doing that. And in the evening, the mind is bent only on returning to camp or on relaxing or whatever. And I'm the same way. And I found this last year. Like, I like to draw in the evenings because it's relaxing. But that's not the time for me to actually be creating. Right? Because if I've got to come up with a concept and stuff like that, I need to do that when I'm fresher. I can draw it out at night, but as far as thinking up a concept, that's not my strongest point at night. And so one thing I've changed for 2020 and 2021 is if I'm actually coming up with client concepts and stuff like that, doing that during the day, although I don't like drawing it out, I prefer to draw it at night. But once I have the concept and they've approved it, I can draw it. It's when it's coming up with the idea, which is the more creative part and the more fresher mind for me. So I looked at that as more of a time management thing than anything else. So it was a pretty good book. One thing here on the Army on the March: he who exercises no forethoughts but makes light of his opponents is sure to be captured by them. When encamping the army, pass quickly over mountains and keep in the neighborhoods of the valley. Now, the way I took this is a lot of people that I talked to early on in 2020 when people were starting podcasts and stuff, I was saying, oh, you know what? Someone's got to start. I got to keep ahead of them. And they're going, oh, don't worry about it, Bruce. You're so far ahead. Like, you got like 500 more episodes than they've got. Well, you know, if you don't kind of think about that and you just go, yeah, I'm ahead of them, I don't have to worry about it, they will pass you. That's what I got out of that one. So that's The Art of War. It was a good book. I really had to think about it though and try to relate it to what's going on now. And to me, that seemed. I think it's a good book as far as the values and the teachings, but I found it very hard to do. So hey, when we come back, I'm going to introduce the book for this month, our second book for the book club. Hey folks, are you ready to get started as an artist? Are you looking for a book to help you? Hey, whether you want to start your business out of the gate on a part-time basis or you want to go full-time and jump right in, this book will help you. This is a book called How to Start an Artistic Business in 12 Easy Steps. And you know what? It's free. That's the cool thing about it, that you can get it free at CashingInOnCreativityPodcast.com. All you have to do is go there, sign up, and you'll get a PDF download that is set up like a workbook so that you can work one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, or you can do it all at the same time. Whatever works for you. This book will work for artists, authors, anybody that's a creative that is looking to use their talent to start a business or career. This is the perfect book for you. It tells you all the things you need. And I wrote it many years ago, but it still works today. So where can you get it? Go to cashingoncreativitypodcast.com. Enjoy. All right, our second book is going to be a biography. So I don't expect you to read the same biography I am going to read. I'm reading one. The whole idea of reading a biography is to be inspired by whoever it is. So I want you to pick a biography that is based on you. I was going to do How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm going to move that book to another date because I don't want it to have two heavy books of the same. I'd rather do like a learning book and then like a biography or something like that. So I was given a book about a year ago by a friend of mine in Barbados on Rod Stewart. And I'm a big Rod Stewart fan. Went to see him in Toronto when he came not too long ago. Have always been a fan of him since the 70s. And this one's actually signed by Rod Stewart. So I'm really excited about that. And this is a biography about his life. And so I'm really interested in reading it. I actually got started. I'm probably about an eighth of the way in because it is a really big book. It's a nice hardcover book, but it's probably, 375 pages long, and I don't read that fast. So for me to get this done in a month, I thought I better get started now. And since The Art of War was fairly small, I finished that early. So I've got started on it. I'm on the beginning of his life. He's just kind of getting into The Rock and stuff now. So it's kind of a neat read, but I'm really interested to see this. Now, when I introduce a biography, what I'm hoping to get out of that biography is to just be inspired that, you know what, like for Rod Stewart here, for the amount that I've read, he's had the same struggles that you and I have had. So I think that's probably the power of a biography, is to see that not everybody, we see them as this finished, perfect thing. They're rich, they're successful, they could sneeze on TV and that would get 1 million views. And, we can't even get 1 million views by buying 1 million views, and they can get it by sneezing and not even anything to do with what they do. So I always find, a lot of these celebrities very intimidating. So I love to read and find out the backstories of, how they got started, and they tripped up just as much as everybody else, and things weren't perfect. And a lot of times it is that you have to, just doing some hard work will get you through. So this was one of the big ones. I haven't gotten into the point where he's a celebrity. At the point I'm reading right now, he's just around that 18-year-old mark. So he's just getting into it. But I'm looking forward to getting further down the road and seeing some of the stories. I think at this point he's with Long John Baldry. He's met Mick Jagger, but they were all just really young and in bands. They weren't rock stars the way they are today. So looking forward to that. So that's the biography that I've picked. I've got a couple biographies this year that I want to get done. That's the biography that I've got because it was given to me by a friend. And it's a beautiful book, and I want to make sure I get it read. So I thought this is a good way to get this done. So I would urge you to pick up a biography of someone that you're impressed with, or something that you find to be really part of it. Feel free to put it on our social media, or put it in the chat on our website if you want to, let us know what you're reading or who you're reading about. I think it's pretty cool. And if you read a book last month to do kind of like The Art of War, or a business book, or you found something that might help, feel free to put that in there so we can all enjoy. Maybe we want to pick that up and start reading it. So for February, it's going to be a biography. And you can just, every once in a while, I'll probably have my friend Dave Rogers or somebody on to talk about a book, because he's got a lot of books in his network. And I asked him for a bunch, and a lot of them I had already read and were fairly heavy. So I've decided to do it this way, where I'll just introduce a light one every other month and let us get down there. So the one I'm reading is Rod Stewart. I'm reading about Rod Stewart's life because I'm a big Rod Stewart fan, and I'm a big musician fan, love music, and very interested in how he got started. And I've got this beautiful signed book. So there's no reason for me not to read it. So looking forward to reporting that back for next month for you. And I would urge you to get a biography going for yourself, because it's going to be a great, hopefully a great gift. Maybe you'll get some inspiration there and get you motivated. So you can read something, you may want to read something that's on the industry you're in. If you've got a celebrity or somebody that's and it doesn't have to be a celebrity. If you got somebody that's really into what you're reading, then go ahead and do that. What I like to do though is I like to read stuff either that you're just basically interested, or books that are not about your industry, not about art, visual arts, or not about business or something like that necessarily, because you will learn a lot from somebody else's journey, whether they're in your industry or not. And I really learn from how musicians do things or how authors do things, even though I'm a visual artist. So I really always like to look at a parallel industry or something else that's going on to see how they've done it, because it gives you ideas for your own products or services that you can learn from. So, all right. So that's our book of the month. Mine is by Rod Stewart. All right. Thanks very much for listening. Hope you enjoy that. I hope you find a good biography to inspire you this month and read along. And make sure you join us next time. We're going to be with Tracy Bissett and talking about your financial foundation. And that's very important too. Hey, make sure you connect with us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find us on any of your popular podcast platforms. So wherever you like to listen to your audio podcasts, you can find us there as well. We're on a number of different destinations to help you. And if you like music, hey, check out our new radio station called leadpedalradio.com. I know the Lead Pedal Radio is our brand for the trucking industry. There is a lot of trucking music and trucking themed shows on there, but there's also a lot of great music. So if you like country, rock, and reggae, you're going to love that station as well. And we hope that you check it out. So I'll put that in the show notes. Thanks very much for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.
Need to know more about your host or the show? Check out your host at bruceoutridge.com and learn more about the show at cashinginuncreativitypodcast.com.